Welcome to Rich Conversations. This is an exciting episode. I love learning about the world. I'm curious about exploring ideas and history. And today we have our first international guest on the podcast, Siroshi
Bakshi.
Bakshi. Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
I try my best to get that name.
Yeah, sure. Shorten it
And
also like
she's all the way in India right now. This is live. We're recording this on the other side of the planet, and you're from Calcutta, West
yes.
Bengal, right? Is that how you
Right.
say it?
So we say it Kolkata, but I prefer saying Calcutta.
Okay. Wow. What? Yeah. So this is so exciting for me. So we're gonna learn more about India today and what what it's all about and what life is like living over there. Why
Yeah.
don't you give a brief description of yourself or
Yes.
introduce yourself?
Right. Like as you already mentioned my name, it's Sreoshi. And I'm a budding writer. Like I have written for quite some publications, and currently I'm working with an ed tech company in India, and I'm a script writer there, and I also do copy editing. So like all the content, working on the content. So I'm pretty much surrounded by content. If you can, like understand, like like my hobbies are into writing, and also like professional life is also into writing. So a lot of writing
A
every
lot of
day, and
words.
yes, exactly, a lot of words, get to learn a lot of new things every day. And that's that. So I've been living in India like all my life throughout. I've traveled to a lot of places, but right now I'm in my home city, which is Kolkata rather.
Do you have some like wind chimes around you?
Yes, I do. Like, is it making a constant sound?
It's not loud or it's not. I'm just curious. I'm just curious about the setting of where you're recording this. Are you just like
Yes.
in your house, like in your bedroom or
Yeah,
something?
I'm in my house. Yes. So
Yeah.
like I stay with my parents. So yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well, can you describe like a brief history of Calcutta?
Right. So like almost I think everybody knows that Kolkata is the city of joy. So like it has like the meaning, the name has a lot of meaning for that. But like initially, like if I'm going back to 1800, like the history goes back beyond that. But as
Yeah.
far as I remember, like around 1800, that's when like the Britishers came to India, and specifically they made Kolkata their British capital of India. And back then it was named Calcutta. It's like it
Okay.
starts with C, and I think the name changed around 2001. But before that, it has always been Calcutta.
You
And
said 2001?
yeah, 2001, the name changed from Calcutta to Kolkata.
I noticed that with several Indian cities, how
Yeah,
the
yeah,
names have changed. Yeah.
exactly.
It's
Like
interesting.
Bombay became Mumbai, and I think Delhi, I think, has changed to New Delhi now. So yes, the
Yeah.
names have changed, but I feel the essence remains. Like somewhere it stays.
Yeah.
So, so
So
that's pretty much the history part. Like,
so it's the city of joy.
yeah, the city of joy, I
And
guess.
and the population there is like 4.5 million.
Yeah, I think like among the top 4 5 cities in India, we are there as like one of the most like populated as well as diverse. Like we have all kinds of religions and cultures here in Kolkata. So yes.
Yeah, what's the culture like where you live?
So it's pretty rich. Like we have a lot of traditions here. We have a lot of festivals. Like I am pretty sure you have seen how India celebrates every festival here, and like
Really?
there's like, every month has a festival of its own here. Almost like yes. Like
What's
we just had, Sorry.
What's the last festival you went to?
So I think the traditional one, like which we have it every year, it's Durga Puja,
Okay.
and that's generally during the month of October. So I was there like last year. I was there again. Like we are kind of gearing up for like next month. We have it, so we're all
Yeah, it's
doing
coming up again.
ourselves. Yes. So right now we are having another festival. It's going on right now. It's Ganesh Chaturthi. So a lot of people, but then it's pretty popular in Mumbai. We don't have it that much here in Calcutta, but I feel like people literally love, spending their time just going out and enjoying every festival. That's what I see.
So what does like what's the daily scene like? Like how do people interact with the city? Um, I guess what characteristics in the people are present in the city?
So I feel I should give you a heads up. So we people here in Calcutta, we are pretty warm, and like we just love getting into discussions. Like I've seen random people, like you probably don't even know each other. They just they strike up a conversation and they start so much like debate, and like we love politics here. Like politics
Really?
is yes, we have
People
to
love
discuss on.
politics in America, but only their politics.
Exactly. But but here, even if you're not into politics, still like you will have an opinion, like to give into the discussion, and like another person comes up with another opinion, and it's like that. Like we love getting into conversations, and people here are helpful. Like I have seen so many people, like even if it's just by maybe like a direction you want to, like you want to reach a place, you don't know how to go there, and people will be actually like, dude, like let me take you there, something of that sort. So I find the people over here pretty warm, and they're very like caring sort of. I don't know, I just kind of get that vibe from them.
Yeah, that's awesome to hear. So when
Yeah.
say people are having a discussion about politics, do people listen to each other or like
Yeah.
what is that like?
Yeah, definitely. So, just not politics. Like we have a lot here, like literature. We have art. We have movies. Like you probably know, like one of the best film directors, Satyajit Ray, is from West Bengal, so Calcutta again.
What's their
So
name?
we have a lot. Satyajit Ray, the one who won the Oscar.
What's their name? His name?
Okay, can I just type it out there maybe then, because it's too difficult to pronounce again.
Sure. It'd be difficult for me to pronounce, that's for sure.
I think yeah.
Oh yeah. That's so she typed in the chat here. Satyajit Ray.
It's Satyajit Ray, yes.
Okay. Wow.
So, yeah. So we have a lot to discuss, just not politics. We have like literature, art, movies, books. Like people here in Calcutta, they are book lovers, literally. Like if you ever visit India and if you ever plan to visit Kolkata, like we literally have a street which is named after books. So it's that much we are,
Really?
like
How do you think it got to be that
love.
way?
Sorry.
How do you think it came to be that way where the city loves literature?
I feel like the people here, we give more importance to creativity than like running after money. I have a feeling like I come from a family where
Interesting.
like we give value to creative minds, intelligence. So that kind of like I think every family focuses on that rather than like
Okay.
chasing after money. Maybe chase intelligence, make yourself like build on that talent you have. So yeah, I think that kind of works, and that's why we have like way too many intellectuals here.
Wow. So how would you describe the differences between Calcutta and other big cities, major cities in India?
Yeah. So like I've lived my almost all my life here in Calcutta, and when I moved out and I first went to Mumbai, so the major difference that I saw was that people in other cities, they're always rushing. Okay, like, rushing to work, rushing to home, rushing to whatever like places they have to go. It's like they're always, on their feet. But when
Yeah,
I come back to my home, everything is so laid back, like so chill, and everyone is like, okay, yeah, we'll go
interesting.
there. No worries, we have time. It's okay. So that's the major difference that I've seen. People here are pretty laid back. Which I don't personally support, but then it's sometimes it's like, it's kind of a comfort zone sort of thing. Like, okay, yeah, we get to chill for a while, and here people are pretty, focused on education. They want to, study. They want to do something creative. Whereas in other cities, I feel what they want to do is more technical sort of thing. Like, they want to get a job. They want to make money. Like, a lot of professional sort of side, and here we are a very artistic sort of people. So those are
Oh,
some differences
interesting.
that I've seen.
So it's the more
Yes,
like artistic city of India.
yes, we are the
Wow.
capital of India.
Okay, then how would you generalize the other cities in India? Like what
I don't do that, but
what's
yeah.
New Delhi? What's Mumbai? What's Bangalore?
Yeah.
Those are like the three other
Yeah, definitely. I've
cities that
I've lived in Mumbai and Bangalore, and personally, I feel those cities, like they are the IT hub, or the like Mumbai is the finance capital of the country, like of India,
okay.
and Calcutta is a cultural capital of India. Like we have all the festivals and traditions and art and heritage here in Kolkata, but back there in those cities, it's a lot like more advanced sort of. So it's like a past and a future sort of. These two cities have, like, when you come to Kolkata, you have all that nostalgia going. You are kind of in a like a time zone which has dated back like some centuries ago. And when you go to Mumbai or Bangalore, life is so fast there. Everyone is busy about, like, they don't have the time for others. That's what I've noticed the major differences.
Interesting. So you're wearing a shirt that says New York on it.
Yeah, so it's a Minions t-shirt.
It's a what?
Sorry?
It's a what?
It's a Minions t-shirt. The movie, I think Minions was the
Oh,
movie
okay.
that, yeah.
Nice.
Although I've not been to New York yet.
Okay. Okay. Interesting. What what's like a big topic that's discussed a lot right now in the country?
Like right now, right?
Yeah, like within society, what do you find is like the most talked about issue or subject in the
Yeah,
country?
I think ever since the pandemic happened, like last year when the entire nation went, into lockdown, so that has affected like a lot of lives here in India. Not just like only city wise, but the entire country suffered a lot. So that has been one of the most major topics of discussion among everyone. Like, what is the future, like where is the entire world
Yeah.
headed to with the pandemic going on? And even now also, like, there are a lot of cases every other day we get to hear it in the news. So that's again a very, so I think right now a lot of people are scared ki what is going to happen with this pandemic going on. So that is a major discussion point which we are always having. And I think another would be like how the pandemic has caused a lot of job cuts, and then there has been like a lot of people have, like, we have lost a lot of lives. So pretty morbid, but then these are the topics which right now our country is like having discussions on.
Yeah, how has the pandemic hit India? I feel like feel like it's almost like very local. You have this global event or this global thing that's
Yeah,
happening, right? But it's
exactly.
affecting each country differently based on how each country
Exactly.
is like set up. Yeah. So how has it impacted India? How have you seen it?
Um, so till like last year and even this year, probably the first few months, it was pretty sad. Like a lot of lives were lost, and like the situation which was like coming up from the entire pandemic or the lockdown. Like due to lockdown, people were losing their jobs, and the most affected, I think, were the ones like the daily workers or the wage owners who earn on a daily basis. So they were affected the most. And as much as the government was trying to like cope up with this thing, but it was difficult because obviously we are like the most populated country in the whole world. So it's very tough, like when someone like was working and then all of a sudden just lost their job and they don't know what to do. They were sitting idle at home. So, and I think the pandemic and the lockdown, it affected the mental health as well of a lot of people. Like I myself was not like enjoying constantly sitting at home and not being able to go out, this entire work from home situation. So it did, like, I think for a whole like 1.5 year we had to face a lot of issues for that.
So in a country like India,
Yeah,
an event like this hits differently because it's so populated, right? Because
exactly.
of so many people. So something that spreads quickly with that many people, but also it's it's like it's like a health. There's like the health part of it, and then there's also the economic part of it of
Totally.
just like shutting everything down, but then businesses have to adjust or lay people off, and then there's other issues, and then working remotely and mental health, and yeah.
Yeah, it's like a vicious cycle. I feel like if you want to protect one thing, the other is getting damaged. And when you try to protect the other thing, the other one is getting damaged. So it's like a loop, sort of, I felt. And it was pretty scary, yes.
So would you say in India the feel is it negative, neutral, or positive about the outlook of moving past the pandemic?
I feel people are still like looking forward to because now that the vaccine has started and people are like getting themselves vaccinated, so people are looking forward to be like this entire episode of whatever happened. They want to look forward to that, and hopefully like things will start getting at a better place. But then it'll take time for us, obviously. So as of now, we are just hopeful. We are being hopeful that things will eventually start getting better for all of us, like,
Yeah.
and it will benefit like everyone.
Yeah. Well, shifting gears a little bit, on a more personal level, if you have an open day,
Right.
how would you choose to spend it?
Okay. So generally, what I try doing is that I try to have a healthy like morning with like a workout, a proper workout, and sumptuous breakfast, and then I try to catch up on my reading. Like I try to read. But I love fiction, so I get back to readings to some fiction, and then I also try writing. Like I have started this practice. Like I have been doing this practice of like writing 500 words a day. Like even if it's not like for my personal writing, maybe journaling whatever is going on in my mind. So I
Yeah.
try to write down that, and then probably watch something on Netflix or Prime, and I don't know. I just like my me time a lot. Maybe just chill and eat something or binge on another show or yeah, that's how I pretty much want to spend my day. Yes.
Yeah, that sounds like a nice easing into the day. I like
Yeah,
that.
like I don't want to take any stress.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, is there somewhere in the city where you go? Is there a spot in the city in particular where you go and it allows you to clear your mind?
So there are a lot of places, but I had the opportunity of visiting Banaras. So it's a bit of a religious place, but then I'm not into religion. So what I really loved about that place was it has a lot of calming sort of vibe. There are a lot of rivers there, and so like I took a boat ride and when I took the boat ride I realized it was pretty, like the even when you have entirely silence all around you and you get to clear your mind, you get to think about like retrospect what you're going to do about life or something of that sort. So I think that was one place that I had gone and I really enjoyed it, and I was like, okay,
What's it
this
called?
is Banaras. It's B for Belgium,
Uh-huh.
Enaras. Wait, let me type it out for you again.
Yeah, yeah. Type in the chat.
Yeah. It's
Okay.
also like I think they've renamed it again to Varanasi. So yeah, and I've met a lot of like foreigners who visit there. Like they come there, they also like enjoy spending time there.
So this is okay. I see it's on the river. I'm looking at Google Maps right now.
Okay, I
Um,
hope you get it.
oh, so this is like North India, northeast a little
Yeah.
bit more, right?
Yes. Yes.
So there are, wow, I bet there's so many places in India you could go and just like immerse yourself in like your insignificance because there's so much
Okay.
history that's happened there. And
Exactly. Yes.
I want to, yeah, I'm going to Google image this. It's probably more helpful. Oh, wow. Yeah, I'm looking at the images now.
Yeah. So those are, I think, those are called ghats, where the people go for a boat ride.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like is that what is that? Like a castle or like
There
is
are
it
a lot
like
of
a
temples.
monastery or something?
Those are temples, and
Yeah.
that's not just one. There are probably like some 20, 30 temples. In every street, there is a temple, sort of. Yeah.
Wow. How long does it take you to get over there? How often do you go?
So, so I've been there twice, not much because obviously the lockdown started.
Yeah.
I think I took a train and it took me an overnight. So, like around some 8 hours by train, and I guess a 1 or 2 hours, I think 1.5 hour of flight.
Wow. How old are these buildings?
Pretty old, like very old. This is, I think, one of the oldest cities of India. I feel.
Wow. What's tourism like in India? Like not people traveling there, but do do people travel around the country quite a bit if they're able
Yeah,
to?
definitely.
Yeah.
Totally. So I think there are a lot of hidden gems in India, and like people keep traveling to those places. Like I've been to one or two of those. Like they have some beaches which are, like it looks like such a serene and, it's literally you are kind of amazed by the beauty of nature. So there are a lot of places in India.
What kind of geography does I when I think of India, I think of jungle and like hot, wet. Is that a majority of the country or is that just part, and are there other terrains and climates that exist?
So it depends on the cities. Like towards the north and the south, like the extreme parts of, like north, south, east, west, they have like the summers are pretty uh, for a long time, and summers are pretty unbearable, I would say. But the
Yeah.
cities towards, like in the middle part, like if I talk about Mumbai or Bangalore, they have a very mild sort of weather, and the evenings are pretty nice. The humidity isn't much, so it's a mix, I would say. Like the temperatures over here, and but yeah, like it doesn't snow other than in the hills. So
Yeah.
yes,
Interesting.
so
Have you ever gone
we
to
are kind of
the
like in the between and not the extremes.
yeah. Uh the Indus Valley civilization? Have you
Yes, like I read it back in history. I don't remember, but then yeah, I read it there. Yes,
yeah, you ever go over there? Yeah, I know it's pretty far from you. It's like northwest India.
I haven't been there yet, but then I've
Uh,
read a lot about it, like how like recently I think they have dug up the place and made it a lot better. I've not been there yet, not yet.
yeah, well, they're on your to-do list. So
Yes,
something to do
definitely.
inside the country. What
Yeah.
what are like the historical when you're going through school,
Yeah.
what what are like the big what are the big events that they
Okay.
teach about Indian history?
Um,
Like what do they
so
want you to know most?
I think, as you mentioned about the Indus Valley civilization, then that's there, like that's a major part. And then there are also like the Nalanda University, and like how it's been for 100 years or more. And then if I come down towards the south of India, there are like a lot of temples, and then like the dynasties associated with those temples. And obviously I think a lot about there are these the caves, the ancient caves, that we have it even till today. Like they have been more than 1,000 years. There are ancient caves, then temples, then like the wall art, the mural painting is pretty, like towards Goa, like the beach side. So there's a lot of these sort of that we have grown up studying. And definitely about the British rule, and like how the independence of India. And I think about the ones, like the freedom fighters. So it's a lot of about India, how like after pre-independence and post-independence. So we studied a lot about those, and pretty much the whatever, like the temples and the museums that are throughout the country. So even that.
Um What do people think of Gandhi there?
Okay. I think he was one of the most famous, like freedom fighters during the independence. So I have a very mixed sort of like opinions that I've heard about him, among people. Like a lot of people, they support him for whatever he did because he was a man who did not, like support violence. So
Yeah.
obviously, a lot of people do uh, support him, and then there are a lot of people who are not supporting him, but other freedom fighters who actually, they literally took part in the wars and they brought the independence. So there's a mixed feeling, but I feel he's a very integral part of our country because we still like have our currency notes with his face, and he's like the most important part of that. So obviously he is an integral part of our system, and I feel like he was pretty, like whatever he did, it was pretty worth saying, commendable, I would say. Like not saying, not sticking with violence and still getting independence for the country, that's a very huge thing to do.
Yeah. So he's highly revered in the country.
I think I missed you, sorry, I didn't get it.
So he's highly revered in India.
Yes, yes, yes,
Okay.
he is.
What like what other people are highly revered like Gandhi?
So one of the names that right now comes to my mind is Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose. Should I type down the
Yeah,
name?
type it in the chat.
Wait, yeah, I'll just do that. So he's pretty famous, and he's a Bengali like me. So he's pretty like looked upon like by all the people here in Kolkata. Like he's he was actually, I feel, a very a true sort of fighter who was like, I literally do what I have to do, and like do it for the right purpose sort of person. He was pretty daring. Like that's what I've read in history about him, and there have been movies made as well, like on him. So
Really?
he was a very. But then there are like a lot of movies which are pretty, controversial. I haven't seen them yet, but I feel like he was a man of his words.
All right, I'm looking him up right now. He's got very distinct glasses.
Yes, yes, exactly.
uh, okay, yeah. Yeah. Born in 1897, died in 1945. Interesting. Yeah, I'll have to look more into him. Yeah. Is there, give me another name of like an icon of India.
Okay, so there's another Bhagat Singh. I'll type it out again. Wait,
Yeah,
just a
type,
sec.
we're going to type it in the chat.
Again, like we've read him in history, and he was like a freedom fighter. And
So this is like a big, you've used the word freedom fighter a number,
sorry,
you've used the phrase freedom fighter a number of times. So
yes,
is that must be like a very pivotal moment in Indian history, right?
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Like when the British, like when they were ruling on India, so they had a lot of restrictions on the people, the Indians,
Yeah.
and that's when I think these freedom fighters, they took it upon themselves. Like we have to, like get our independence, and they literally, did what they had to do. So I think Bhagat Singh, he kind of sacrificed himself for the entire, freedom fight thing. And there are a lot of names. Like I can't remember all of them, but like there are a lot of names.
This guy, yeah. I'm obviously, yeah, of course, there are many, many
Yes,
names that you
yes.
could say. This is an interesting looking guy. He's very
Okay.
striking.
Yes, he is. He is. That's true.
Interesting. Huh. Well, you mentioned that your city is kind of known for artistic expression.
Yes.
Um, and it's obviously rubbed off on you. How did you get interested in writing?
So, so I've been writing from a very young age. Like I remember writing during my school days, like when I think there used to be this creative writing competitions we used to have in school,
Uh-huh.
and that's like how I got into it. So initially, I wasn't very good at it. I started like working on my skills, and I used to read a lot. Like I grew up reading Harry Potter, Enid Blyton. Then I think there were more writers like Famous Five and Secret Seven. Then Agatha Christie. So I read a lot, and I started like working on my imagination skills, and that's when I got into like I thought that it was a hobby, but then I realized like no, I can do like become a full time writer and work on it. So that's how just I got into writing.
How did you, from the reading for or from the writing I've seen of you so far, it's all in English?
Yes.
Do they teach, is English taught at a
Yeah,
very
yeah,
young
yeah,
age in
definitely.
India? Is
So
like
like
what are the main languages or writing?
so I studied in a convent school. Like it was an all Christian school, so you can imagine how it was. Like our first language was English. So I
Okay.
grew up writing in English, but then there are other languages as well. Like I think there are a lot of languages. So I personally I just have a grasp on English and my mother tongue, which is Bengali. So I write in that, but there are a lot of writers here who write in like other the native languages of our country. So yeah, there are there.
How many how many native languages are there in India? There's got to be a
I
lot.
think yeah, definitely. I think more than 36. I have a feeling.
Okay. Is there a pride being, you said Bengali, right?
Yeah.
Is there a pride being like, is there a regional pride throughout India of like where you're from and stuff?
I feel there is like if you're talking about the Bengali pride, there is like we do feel proud when like we have the most prominent people from our state. Like we have Rabindranath Tagore, who has he won a Nobel Prize. We have Satyajit Ray, like I said, and then Amartya Sen. So we do take pride in our like our creativity and our intelligence, and like how like we are the land of writers and singers and composers. So there's a lot of like I don't know, at least I personally take a lot of pride in being a Bengali.
Are there particular people who've inspired you?
um there are like I loved J.K. Rowling. Like when I was reading Harry Potter, I was in my third grade. So when I started reading her, I was pretty inspired by her. Like being a woman, she was writing books which like probably has been read by everyone throughout the world.
Yeah.
So I was pretty inspired by her, and even Enid Blyton, like that was when I was reading her books, it kind of felt very warm, and she has a writing which kind of makes you feel good. So
Yeah.
yeah, like, I've been inspired by a lot of writers actually.
What um what do you like writing most?
So I mostly like to write fiction, and it's a lot about looking into human emotions. I would say, like, I try to, like I was telling you in the beginning itself, like you are a keen observant. So even I like to observe people and their emotions. Like I try to understand. I try to read people, as in what made them do this. Like what is the
Yeah.
backstory of that person. So I delve into a lot of human emotions and I write that. Like people can relate to that sort of stories and content. Yeah.
People, for those listening, people give away more information about themselves than they realize. It's not
Exactly.
just like what you say. There's like so many other things that give away.
Exactly, or how they show themselves, and
Yeah.
like maybe the fumbling, maybe their way of looking at others. So I don't know. I mean, like every writer is a very sharp observant. I feel that. Like you would have
Yeah.
probably done that.
Do you people watch sometimes?
Oh, definitely, all the time. Not sometimes, all the time.
Yeah. Where's your favorite place to people watch?
Like so mostly when I'm out with my friends, and like be it in a restaurant or like any shopping mall. So I like to observe people, not just couples, but then I just observe the one who is at a shop selling something. So I like to see their facial expression. I like to see how they're dealing with someone else, and how they're talking, their body language,
Yeah.
everything. Like I don't know. I just have a list of things that I can go on and talk about. Like, there's a lot of things that I keep observing
Is there
that
one
actually
spot
help.
like if someone were visiting your city,
Yeah.
where would be the place you would tell them to go to people watch? Like the best place to people watch?
I think any metro city, where you'll find a lot of good crowd. Good crowd, as in, where you can actually utilize the people watching
Yeah.
things. So, yeah, it can be my city, Kolkata, or it can be Bangalore or Mumbai. I think Mumbai would be perfect because there's a lot of people there. Like, lot of people, and you get to see the varieties, like just just one after another. It's like that. So I think Mumbai would be perfect for people watching.
Mumbai.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting. So I'm working on this book
Okay.
called of reading this book called A History of Future Cities.
Right.
So they the writer looks at four cities: St. Petersburg, uh, Dubai, Mumbai, and
Okay.
what's yeah, what's the other one? Shanghai. Um,
Achha.
so I'm curious to learn more about Mumbai in here. I
I
think it's
think,
like
yeah,
a
like
kind of east
an
meets
understanding.
west and like industrialization, I think.
Yes, yes, definitely. It's like the finance capital of the country. So I think
Oh yeah, you
if
mentioned that. That's interesting. Yeah, on the back here it says history of future cities is a captivating investigation of four instant cities, in quotes, St. Petersburg, Shanghai, Mumbai, and Dubai, that sought to catapult themselves into the future by emulating the West. So you could see, like, yeah, Mumbai financially, if you take on a lot of like concepts and principles from the West, maybe, yeah, that's probably why.
yeah.
Yeah, it's all this stuff is interesting. Um, so how do you think, or I guess first, what's your writing process like?
I think I lost you. Yeah, yeah,
Oh yeah,
yes.
yeah. I think we lost each other for a bit there. Well, what's your writing process like?
Okay. So I keep learning although. So what I try to do is that I make an outline of whatever I'm writing. Like currently, I'm working on my a collection of short stories. So what I do is that I prepare an outline for each story, as in so that I don't get lost midway. And once I've created the outline, I try to work on the characters, and then like I start writing. So I feel what like every writer should do is that they should first write it down, like whatever they have in their mind, they should just write it down, and then start with the editing. Because when you start editing it, a lot of the flack, the jargons, you can
Mm.
remove them, but the initial phase is to just write it down and like put it there out on the paper.
So okay, so you say outline first.
Yeah.
So you outline it, write it, and then go back and edit. Don't try to, while you're writing it the first time, edit yourself while you're typing and writing, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like if you are gonna write and edit, that's a pretty I don't know, I mean, I feel that's a lengthy process. Maybe just write it down entirely and then edit it, just so that, or maybe the best, I feel like you write it down, you come back to the writing after 2 hours and then sit for editing, because that's like,
Okay.
you have your mind cleared out, and when you sit and read your stuff, you actually realize, okay, fine, I can remove this part, or I can edit this to make it better. So that's easier. Yeah.
So take it, write it. Yeah. So there's like two things here. It's like write it how it feels. So it's like the writing aspect is kind of like this spiritual connection with your emotions and your thoughts and your feelings. Yeah. So get that out first and then come back and look at it more objectively.
Yeah, pretty much. Yes, you said
You
it.
have to really really adapt your thinking all the time of like, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like when you become a writer, that the entire process of thinking, it comes to you naturally. You don't have to even like put effort for it. It just comes to your mind.
Yeah. So how do you think writing has helped you think about the world?
Okay, so I think writing has made me a lot more empathetic towards myself and towards others. I try to understand every situation and what led to the situation, rather
Oh,
than
interesting.
just being, like be very blunt about it. I want to deal the situation in a lot kinder sort of way. So that has helped me to learn and like grow personally, and also like get a better perspective on how the world works and how humans work. So
Yeah.
that's writing has helped me in that way. Yes, it has.
Yeah. That's interesting. Empathy. Empathy is a very important component of life. Yeah,
Exactly.
right. Yeah. Because you have to be very aware about your own feelings, right? When you're writing.
Yes,
And as a
absolutely.
human, what makes us human is that we experience these emotions and thoughts. So
Yeah,
if we experience it, then everybody else does too, right?
exactly. Totally, I agree. Yes.
Okay, something I'm curious about. What music do you listen to?
Music.
Yeah.
Okay. So so I listen to a lot of Bollywood.
Bollywood?
Like, yeah, the Hindi songs. So
Okay.
I listen to a lot of that, and I do listen to music which is actually pretty soothing at times, or maybe you enjoy the beat of it and you just like hum along the song until you realize, okay, I like this song, and it just gets stuck in your head. that those kind of songs. So I don't have any specific genre, but I just like enjoy anything that has some catchy tunes, and yeah.
Give me a name of an artist that I can start listening to.
Okay, so maybe I can give you like quite a few names. Wait, I'll just write down
Yeah,
another.
let's type them in.
This is a singer. She's again another like Bengali, and she's from Kolkata. But I think you like her songs because she has a very soulful voice. Like her songs are pretty soothing.
So it's Shriha Gos
Shreya
Gosa
Ghosal.
Gosal. Yeah, you mentioned before. So in India, the E's are pronounced a certain way.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
We need to stress on it. Yeah. I think in
Shriya.
Bengali we stress on the S part a bit more.
Okay. Very cool. All right. Yeah, I'll give that one a check that out. Um, what are three of your favorite movies?
Okay, I have a lot of movies. Like I literally can't just pinpoint on. But I'll give you three names. So again, like I'll go back to Bollywood. So I had watched this movie. I've watched this movie like almost like some 20 times maybe. So it's called Jab We Met.
Okay.
That is one, and the other one is so I am a super Harry Potter fan. So I've watched all the Harry Potter
Oh,
movies, like
nice.
yeah. And I think I recently I watched one movie. So I think you might have heard of it, the Shawshank Redemption.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Yeah, that's one of
Yeah.
my favorites too.
Yeah, so like I was watching it, and I actually connected with the movie. It felt pretty like real, and I love the ending, and I love the dialogues. Like the dialogues were very rich.
Yeah, I feel
So
like
that
writers like that movie for sure.
exactly.
Interesting. Uh, where have you all traveled to, and where else would you like to travel?
So I have almost like covered all the Indian cities, like
Okay.
New Delhi, Mumbai, Bangalore. Then no, I have not been to Gujarat. I've been to Manali, like towards the north side of the country, where the hills are there,
Yeah.
and and towards the south of India as well. I've been to few places, and like I told you, I mentioned you the name Banaras. I went there, so
Yeah.
I am yet to go to certain places. But yeah, like I also want to go to for international travels. Like all I've been to Malaysia and Singapore and Thailand, but I have not been beyond that.
You've
So
been
I do
there?
plan.
You've been to those places?
Yes, but
Okay.
like that was long time back.
Yeah, because it's not far from you. Sort of.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Asian countries. So yeah, I've been there.
Where would you want to go?
So, like, I do want to visit US and UK. Like, I've heard so much about New York
Yeah.
City, and like every show has this New York vibe. I really love
Yeah.
the like the iconic Eiffel Tower. Yeah,
Yeah.
like a lot of places. I still have them in my bucket list. I am yet to go there.
Yeah. So New York, London, Paris, for sure. Right.
All right.
We're breaking up a little bit here.
Yes, I think the internet is a bit unstable.
Yeah. Yeah. Who would have thought? I mean, minor issues. Relatively, we've experienced pretty minor issues for like the ability to talk to someone on another part of the world the same time is
Exactly.
pretty wild.
Yeah, totally, totally.
What's something you're curious about recently?
Sorry, can you just repeat it again?
What's something you're curious about recently?
Okay, I am pretty curious about a lot of things. One of the major things is that, like, how do humans' minds work? That's something which I keep thinking, and I mean, I don't know, like, how, like, they come up with the actions they or maybe like how they behave with others, what is that driving thing for them which makes them act in a certain way. That's
Yeah.
one thing that I keep thinking about. I'm pretty curious. And also, like, so I am curious about a lot of fancy, like, science stuff, like, why do the clouds, they look light but then they're the heaviest, like that's what I've read somewhere, and I was thinking, okay, so I don't know, every odd sort of stuff just comes to my mind and I keep thinking about them. So I have a lot going on in my head at times.
That's why you have to write it down, right?
Exactly. Right.
Uh, all right. Well, last question here. What do people
Yes,
in India think of America?
I think, yeah, I think in general, I feel we are pretty, like, awed by the, the West people there, and we love to sort of emulate whatever they're doing. We also want to do that. Like, we have McDonald's here. Like, food wise, culture wise, we are kind of trying to do what the people in West they do. But other
Yeah.
than that, I feel like America is pretty progressive, and I really like what they're doing for the people. So we actually love watching American shows and TV. So I pretty much feel that we have a very warm sort of feeling for America.
Yeah. Well, that's good to hear. Uh,
Yeah.
actually, I do have another question for you.
Yes.
What what digital apps do you use most?
Is it for like writing or like in general?
In general, you've mentioned Netflix before, and
Prime.
I think you said Hulu as well.
No, I mentioned Prime.
No, Prime. Yeah, that's what it was.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
what all like apps do you use most?
So like for work, I have like the general, the WhatsApp, Telegram, and I think Messenger, and I do use there is this app which I feel is pretty easy for me to use. It's called Splitswise. It helps me handle my the expenses that I have from day to day basis. So that's one. And
Okay.
then there are other apps, I think. Wait, like there are these grocery apps, and then like the shopping apps there are there. So there's a lot of apps, and then there are apps to read books. So like Kindle is there, ebook.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And then social media, I know you're on Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that
And
your favorite social media platform?
I feel I wouldn't say favorite, but I would say I find it to be pretty useful because I get to read a lot of stuff from a lot of writers, just not from India, but like throughout the world. So that is one way of like connecting with writers. And yeah, so like Instagram kind of helps me with that. Like I get to see a lot of videos and learn a lot of new stuff from there. So that's helpful for me. Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. This has been such a fun conversation. I'm so glad we
Yeah.
did this.
Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So first international guest on the show.
I feel
Uh,
so privileged right now.
tell people where they can find your writing and follow you on Instagram.
Yeah. So like I do have my own blog, which is like, and also I write it on Sreoshi Writes, the account which you're following. So yes, I write there, and my blog is pretty much my name. So it's Sreoshi Writes WordPress.com. So I'm there, and I write a lot of stuff which I think a lot of people will be able to relate to, because it's all about humans and their emotions. So yes.
That's awesome. Well, thanks for coming on. This has been special.
Yeah, and thank you for having me. It was a great conversation that I had.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Well, thanks again. We'll keep in touch.